This program is brought to you by the Media Liberty Alliance Foundation in cooperation with OBBM Network TV, bringing citizen-led, creative local media to the forefront of local communities to foster a greater understanding of constitutional liberty and appreciation of what makes us truly free, starting with you and me.
The Zach Rateliff Show is brought to you by Mortgage Financial in Texarkana, Exceed Health Clinic on Mull Drive in Texarkana, Elmwood Custom Goods, and Church on the Rock, Texarkana. That's churchontherock.org.
At the Texas Democrat Convention, Ben Flores defended Senate candidate James Tallarico. He said when they say James is going to hell, we'll say we're all going to hell. He was trying to foster party unity, but why would anyone align themselves with hell for political power? Jesus said hell is real and is a place of eternal terror and perpetual pain. No candidate or party is worth that allegiance. I'm Pastor John Miller. Visit me at churchontherock.org.
Hello and welcome to the Zach Rateliff Show. I'm Zach. This is Lois Kendall. Hey, Lois, how are you?
Howdy, howdy.
It's good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
I'm so excited to be here. I have to tell you, this has been just a dream waiting to happen.
Well, I'm excited to have you. I'm excited to talk about your ridiculously crazy proposition that I think would really change the world. It's so ridiculous and crazy,
yes,
yet constitutional.
Yes.
And I'm like, you know what?
That's a really good way to put it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I actually, when I introduced myself, I'm like, yeah, I'm that crazy lady who wants to radically expand the U.S. House. And so, yeah, I am that crazy lady.
And I say that with all respect and love, because I even said this on my last show. One of my buddies called the other day, and he's agnostic, but he's my best friend. And he goes, so let's talk about Noah's Ark. And I go,
yeah,
let's do that.
It. Yeah.
And he goes, so all the ending, we kind of got into it. And I'm like, I go, yeah, but I'm approaching this from, I believe the Creator created everything in 6 days. The Creator being the one true God, the God of the Bible, the God of the Bible, and
Moses, Abraham.
Yeah, that's right. And so I didn't think that was crazy, and I don't think operating inside the Constitution is crazy. Now, is it radical compared to what we currently do?
It would be very different. It would completely alter the political landscape. Yes.
Okay. So we'll get into that. But let me let you introduce yourself.
Okay.
And then we kind of started talking off air about how I got into podcasting. But go and you said you've been on radio, so just run with it, introduce yourself, and then we'll see where we go.
Okay. So my name is Lois, and I have a teeny tiny YouTube channel, and I make shorts. Okay. Where I try to give people one little question about this topic of representation and a little answer. Because, you got 3 minutes.
Right.
And I am a wife and a mom. I have 4 absolutely magical children.
Awesome.
And my husband is my best friend and head of security and the best thing that ever happened to me other than Jesus.
Yeah.
And so I have loved the Lord a long time. My parents were missionaries in Mexico. And so I was actually born there, and I lived there.
De español.
Sí, se puede.
That's bueno.
Yeah. So I use it in my real estate business, actually.
Oh, I bet you do. I do not habla. Well, poquito habla.
Well, you know what? Most of the time, people are really grateful when you try.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Now, if you want to go French, we can.
So actually, in order to be sympathetic to my children who struggle to learn Spanish, because they aren't being supported by the entire culture around them, I actually, on Duolingo, have like a 2,000-day streak in French.
Oh, très bien.
Yeah. So I'm trying. Yeah. Seulement un peu.
Anyway. There you go. Yeah.
So, yeah. So I lived in Mexico for off and on a total of 10 years. And when I left home for college, that's where I left from. And I came to Houston and lived there for college, 5 years, and then met my husband, got married, had a couple of kids, and then we moved to rural Russ County, and we've been there for 15 years, and I love it so much.
Okay. Well, That's good. Well, so I was going to tell you how I got into this.
I loved hearing your story about your medical emergency.
Oh, yeah,
So-
my testimony. Yeah.
Yeah, so when-
anyway, you were saying when you were 11.
Yeah. It's crazy that when you were telling your story, I just over and over again, I identified with you.
Oh,
My
that's awesome.
dad was, he is allergic to these kissing bugs. They're like this long, they're about an inch long. And
Okay. Are they
it's
in
called-
Mexico?
They're actually all over the South.
Oh, okay.
Cone-nosed beetles is what they are. They're,
I'm going to look it up while you're telling the story.
yeah. And they have a proboscis, like a mosquito, and they suck blood. They usually we were living in Arizona at the time, and they usually get in pack rat dens, and they feed off the pack rats underneath like a cactus.
Okay.
That's their pack rats love to be under the cactus, and they love to be on the pack rats.
I didn't really know pack rats were a real thing.
Oh yeah, no, that's like legit. It's
Okay.
it's like
So
a whole thing.
I've
Yeah.
always heard like don't be a pack rat, but I just thought that was like
Yeah, no.
So I'm.
Yeah,
this is going to be
they
an
are-
educational show for me.
They
apparently.
are a very important part of the desert ecology. yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. So my dad was allergic to this kind of insect, and
Okay.
it bit him in our house, in his bedroom.
Oh, one of these.
Yes,
I know this. I know this thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it bit him.
I'll put a picture on the show so everybody can see it.
All right, it bit him on the back of the head, and then it crawled down and it bit him on the face. He's asleep,
Okay.
and then it crawls down in his shirt and it bites him a bunch of times.
Oh
on his
my
chest.
goodness.
And he's anaphylactic allergic.
Oh no, not good.
So I hear him calling, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I go get my mom, and she comes, and he is like unconscious. He's
Right.
So my older brother gives him mouth to mouth, keeps him alive until the ambulance gets there. They
Okay.
keep him alive until the helicopter gets there. The
Oh
helicopter
my
lands.
goodness, they're gonna have to life flight him.
Yes, to a hospital about 45 minutes away.
Okay.
This is in Tucson, Arizona. And he spends 8 days in a coma.
Oh.
And
okay.
every day they're telling my mom that the prognosis is worse.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's like
not gonna happen.
he's not going to be able to live alone. He's not going to. So then the next day it's like he's not going to be able to walk. And she is just like, no, we're just going to. So
right.
she's like,
It's funny
this is the
because that's
night-
the answer, right? No.
yeah. So it's the 90s. It's like 1991, 1992. And they have these cassette tapes of praise music and people reading scripture. And they play them on like 24 hours a day on repeat
You know,
in
it's
his office room.
it's
in
funny.
his hospital room.
My friend Casey at the time, she had. I think I still have the CD somewhere. I just don't have a CD player. And it,
Yeah.
one of the main songs on there is "I Can Only Imagine."
Yeah.
It was what played over and over and over.
Yeah.
And I can sing that. Well, I'm great for somebody that can't sing, but
Right.
but just
Know all the words.
I know all the words because I heard it for 11 straight days.
Yeah. So when they get to the point that they tell her that he's going to have to be institutionalized and he's not going to be able to feed himself, and they come out and they tell her, there's really nothing we can do.
Yeah.
But we've done everything we can, and it may be time to let him go.
Mm.
And my aunt, so my dad's sister, is there with her, and my mom says to her, maybe this is what God was waiting for, because now when he heals him, they can't take any credit.
That's exactly right.
Isn't that crazy? And so, that is some legit faith right there.
Yeah.
So sure enough, the next morning, okay, so we have friends here in Texas who get on a plane and they fly out and they're like, we're just gonna pray for him. We're gonna anoint his body with oil. This is what the Bible says to do. We're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And they're
That's
not
real.
hokey or weird. They're just
I've got anointing oil in my truck just in case.
It's funny.
People think I'm crazy for it, but you never know when you're going to need it.
Well, so, and here's the thing, like being friends with a Christian is weird because they do have an invisible friend, right? Like it is
An
weird,
invincible bouncer.
right? It is weird when we can get into this, something that C.S. Lewis wrote about what it's like to
I
be
knew I was
friends,
going to like you.
what it's like to be friends with a Christian.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is weird. And so, they flew out and they prayed for him, and then they got back on the plane and they flew back.
Yeah.
Because that's what they were supposed to do.
That's what. Look, I never want to make it about me. It is the Zach Rateliff Show, but mainly about Jesus. there was someone in the hospital one time that I got word of in Little Rock.
Mm.
I was praying about it, and God's like, hey,
You need to go.
go lay hands on them. Just drive up there.
Yeah, just go
And
pray.
they had a terminal prognosis. And
Just be in the
I'm
room.
going to give them some. Drove up there, prayed for them, laid hands on them. Hey, I'm Zach. Didn't know him.
Yeah.
Knew the mom, but hey, I'm Zach. Here to rebuke this cancer.
Mm.
And I'm going to get out of here. Turn around, drove home. God granted them from a bad terminal diagnosis, gave them over a year more of life.
Wow.
And just worked a miracle right there. And
yeah, you just never know what God's doing. Like he just, he does what he wants.
Yeah.
Our God is in his heaven and he does what he wants as it pleases him.
Yeah.
And I am not sorry to belong to him.
No. So anyway, they fly back.
Yeah, so they fly back, and people had called all over the country. Anybody who was connected with the mission organization that they were connected with, heard about it and was starting to pray. So like we're 7 days in on praying, and so by this time the word is all over the world, right?
Yeah.
And 2 different people called my mom with the same verse, and it's from Psalms. I will not die, but live and tell what the Lord has done for me. And so she was like, all right, well, that's what the Lord said. So
there we go.
So that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so when they tell her that he's not coming out of it and that she should just let him go, she has that reaction of like, well, clearly you weren't in the room when God said.
Yeah. Clearly you hadn't asked God.
Right. So sure enough, his vitals started to get better. And they were like, you know what? I don't think he needs this intubation anymore. So we're going to just take it out. We're going to let him breathe on his own. So they did, and he did, and it was fine. And about 12 hours later in the morning, he woke up. And the nurse looked at him and she saw that he was licking his lips. And she was like, Ralph, are you thirsty? And his first words were, I'm very thirsty.
Yeah.
And so, it was
That's
just
good.
So like I'm in 5th grade, right? Like you can't unlive that.
No.
Right? You can't
There's no taking that away.
Right. Like that goes with me everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Into everything I do.
That's the thing about testimony. No one can take your testimony away.
Right. You were there.
Right. I mean that's
what the early believers, they were like, you can't tell me that Jesus didn't rise from the dead because I was there. I saw him. I touched him.
People aren't going to die for a lie. Generally.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's right.
There's that. But they knew it was.
Yeah.
Right.
They really met the real Jesus. He was really and truly alive.
Well, I don't know if you plan on the show going here today, but here we are. It's Holy Spirit leads, we follow.
Amen.
Julius Caesar.
Oh, wow.
Is less documented by 100 times than Jesus Christ. There's more secular evidence for Jesus Christ to have been alive than Julius Caesar. And he is a widely accepted fact.
Yeah. It's interesting. I have to stay in my lane, right? Like I'm just a homeschool mom. There's a bunch of stuff I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Same.
So I have never read any of the biographies of Julius Caesar. Right. But Wes Huff has done so much to bring all of that into the mainstream.
He's a good watch for sure.
He's pretty magical. All right. So let's talk about craziness.
Let's talk about this wild experiment you want to run.
Yes.
So
first, tell me your top 3 things that you hate about the way our government runs right now. Like, what do you think is actually the problem? This is one of my favorite questions to ask people because if you say just one, they're like, no, there's too many.
I don't know. I started off. Let me tell you what I think that this country was for.
Okay, cool. I'm here for it.
We started because we were taxed without representation.
Uh-oh.
All right? And I think
the R word.
I think this plays right into where you're going. It wasn't we were already here. We were English colonies. We were a thriving colony.
Right.
Things were going well, but we didn't have the representation in the House of Commons and in the House of Lords in Parliament
Yeah.
that we felt we deserved. We had no one speaking on our behalf.
Yeah, and it was far away.
And it was far away.
We'd been handling our business by ourselves.
That's right. And our local guys had no say. And there was no one that we could go to their house, knock on their door and say, hey,
listen here, buddy.
Why did you do that?
Yeah, that was not okay.
And so I would say that my biggest issue, I don't know if it's my biggest, I have a lot of big issues with Congress and government in general. I agree a lot with what the founders did. I love the way they did it, and they gave us a way that we can change our government through the amendment process. And probably the thing I don't like most about the government, the more I get into it, is the 17th Amendment.
Ooh, that's crazy. That's a wild one.
Yeah, because it took power from the state.
Yes.
Which, once again, the 17th Amendment took away in the Constitution, which I'm sure you know much more about this than I do, the way we could regulate our legislator of the national legislature is we had the power to recall senators to the state house. And then those guys,
here, buddy, you're not doing a good job representing us.
They were representatives of your local, of the state house, which means, you know, like the guy running for our state house district, he's in here. He's been in here 3 or 4 times in the last 6 months, right? I have his phone number. I know where his work is. I can go talk to him. Well, he was supposed to be able to have control of our senators.
Yes.
And so we lost that to popular vote. So now our senator is one of 2 people elected by 35 million people.
Yeah. I have a connection to that. I think when we get into this, I think you'll see that there's a connection.
Okay, let's go.
All right. So let's do a little quick basic civics for people, right?
Please.
How many?
Nobody else is teaching it.
How many branches?
Okay, we got 3, but you ask the questions, I'll answer them. You tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, so part of the reason that I do this is that I teach civics, and when I ask a question, if you know the answer, it makes you feel smart. And if you don't know the answer, then it makes a space in your brain for me to put an answer.
There you go.
You have to care that you don't know. So 3 branches.
Okay.
What are they?
So we're going to have the executive branch.
Yep.
And then we're going to have the legislative branch. We have the judicial branch.
Right. And in our legislative branch, we have the Congress, and it has 2 parts, right? It has
bicameral.
Right. And it has, which is interesting because Nebraska's not like that. It's unicameral.
Yes.
It's the only one. All right. So we have our 2 houses. Why do we have 2 houses in Congress?
Well, the original plan, to my understanding, is the House of Representatives were of the people, based on your House of Commons in the British Parliament. So those were your ordinary people. Yes. They represented everyday guy, well, it wouldn't have been woman at that point. It would have been everyday guy, your neighbor, your person that you spoke to. You sent them to represent you. Yeah.
Yeah. And remember, the little states were afraid of being run over by the big states. So that's why we have a Senate. The Senate every state has an equal voice. Right. They only get 2. Yep. So we've got 50 states. We've got 100 senators, right? If Puerto Rico were to join the union, we would have 102 senators because Puerto Rico would get 2. So why are there 435 seats in the U.S. House?
I'm going to guess that was based off population at the time.
Okay. So
is that right?
Ish. You're close. Okay. You're in the ballpark. So the idea was that the Senate would be equal vote for each state, and the House would be based on population, because the big states were like, hey, but y'all can't railroad us either. Right. Right. So we got to have representation because we have way more people than you do. We have way more responsibilities than you do. Right. So you can't just tell us what to do. This has to be both territory and people. Okay. Population. Okay. So Senate represents our territories, our states, and then the House is supposed to represent our population. Right. All right. Well, if you flip to the first chart, you can
before I read your notes, currently, maybe I'm going to jump ahead. Are you going to ask me how many each representative represents? Because I think it's 760 something thousand people.
That is correct.
Okay.
So that's the 2020 census data. So how many people live in the United States?
Right. 350-ish million.
Okay. According to the 2020 census, it's like 331 million and change. We don't know exactly. But for round numbers, we'll say
50 million illegals.
We'll say 1/3 of a billion. Okay, so there's only
third of a billion. I like the way you put that.
Yeah,
just so everybody understands.
There's only 2 nations in the world that have more people than us.
China and India.
China and India. They each have 1 billion. We've got 1/3 of a billion.
And China's numbers are looking like they may have been falsified, but that's a whole nother show.
Okay, yeah. That again, I'm gonna have to stay in my lane and say I have no idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got 1/3 of a billion of the United States. That's us, and so 435 people.
So I'm going to page 1. Where do you want me?
Yeah, flip to the first chart.
And will you email me this, and then
I'd love to.
I can attach? It'll only be on the YouTube version unless I can figure out how to get it. But I'll attach it where I can.
Yeah, no worries.
Or I can. You know what? I'll just put in. Hold on, I want to make time marks.
Sure. Whatever you got to do. So on that chart, what you're looking at is the historic size of each district. So if you look on the left side, you can see 1790. And
34,000.
Yes. So when the founders were discussing, okay, how many people are going to be in each district, right? They set a floor. They set a minimum limit. This is in Article 1 of the Constitution.
Okay.
Section 2, paragraph 3.
Okay.
And it says that each state gets 1 minimum, right? No matter how few people you have.
You got at least 1.
You get at least 1.
Don't we have one with 1 currently?
Oh, we have several.
Okay.
We have like 8 or 10.
Okay.
All right. So every state gets at least 1. So like Vermont, teeny tiny Vermont, Rhode Island, they got 1, right?
Okay.
But in order to have 2 seats, you have to have a minimum of 30,000 per seat. That's what that's what's in the Constitution.
30,000 per seat
minimum. So if you're going to have 2 seats, you got to have a minimum of 60,000 people according to the Constitution. If you're going to have 3 seats, you got to have a minimum of 90,000.
So we have states with
Okay. But they didn't set a maximum size. Okay. So as long as the founding generation is alive, they keep it small. They keep adding enough seats. So they started off with like 68 seats in the first house.
Gotcha.
So there were 68 of them. And as soon as they had their first census, they added a bunch of seats because population was growing. So 10 years later, they added a bunch of seats, kept the district small.
Okay.
And there's actually this really cool story about George Washington. Okay, so George Washington,
the bulletproof man.
Oh man, he knew how much power he had, and he did not throw it around. Like they would have made him king, right? They tried to. And actually, I think it's the mercy of God that he had mumps and he couldn't have children, because they would have totally made him into a dynasty.
Absolutely. And
instead, he poured himself into those young men, into Hamilton, and, that whole generation.
We were in covenant with God.
Yeah. So George Washington he chaired those meetings at the Continental Congress for 2 years, and he never gave opinions about how we should handle things.
I mean, he truly handled it from a parliamentary procedure.
Right.
Yes.
He would say, let's divide the question. He would say, let's have lunch first. He would say, he would give procedural advice, but he did not weigh in except on this issue.
Sidebar, the education level of these men.
Oh my goodness.
And the divine inspiration inside of that is often understated.
It's absolutely miraculous that those fellows all existed on the same continent at the same time.
Absolutely. So, but this is the issue he weighed in on.
Yeah. There was debate, like, where should we set that floor? Should we set that at 30,000 or 40,000? And they originally wrote in 40,000.
Okay.
And he was like, I really wanted to say 30. And they were like, yes, sir. And they literally, you can see in the original, there's a photo of it on a website that I love called 30,000.org. And the genius behind that is Jeff Quidham. And he is absolutely like the numbers genius. That I'm pretty sure that chart you're looking at came from there. 30,000.org.
1,000 written out.
It's actually both written out. 30-1,000. Yeah. And if anybody, one of your most important jobs when you're listening to this is to fact check everything.
Yeah,
right?
Please. I wish everybody would.
Right. So like,
they know how smart I am.
I'm going to get some things wrong today. There's going to be some detail that I say, and please be the person who finds that and puts it in the comments. and like says, hey, what she meant was, or she should have said this. Okay, so 30,000.org is a great.
Actually, you're going to have to email it to us because I turned all the comments off. But
Okay.
on your show, I'll make you a collaborator, and you can
Sure.
you can
Whatever.
replay this. Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. I trust you.
Yeah.
So he says, I want it to say 30,000. And they like rub out the ink and they squish THIR in the place where there was just an FOR. And so it looks a little wonky.
Yeah.
Because that's what he wanted.
Perfect.
So 30,000, that was our minimum threshold.
Okay.
And as long as that generation was alive, they kept it at that size.
Okay.
Because they really wanted ordinary folks to be able to call up to ride on horseback.
Taxation without representation.
Right. Well, eventually that generation died out. And they did not get to put in a ceiling. They proposed one, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Okay.
But they didn't get it done. And so, I'm grateful for what they did. But as that generation died out, we did keep adding seats, but we also let the districts get bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can see on that chart where by the time we get to
Civil War.
Yes. How big are the districts?
122,000.
Right. Do I know the guy now?
I mean, maybe.
Maybe. If I'm important.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
If I'm mayor of a big city.
Yeah.
He knows me. Right?
Right.
And where are we by the time we get to 1929?
280,000.
Okay. So do I know the guy now?
No.
Does he know me?
No.
No. So at this point in American history.
And I'm thinking about this because now we're at 700,000 or whatever. The only reason our guys know me is because I'm annoyingly going to call them, right?
Right. That's your job. We're super grateful that you're doing it. Keep it up.
Right.
Okay. So
The Zach Rateliff Show is brought to you by Mortgage Financial in Texarkana, Exceed Health Clinic on Mall Drive in Texarkana, Elmwood Custom Goods, and Church on the Rock, Texarkana. That's churchontherock.org.
A federal court blocked a California gender secrecy law that allows schools to hide students' gender confusion from parents. Attorney Nick Berry said neither law nor school policies should interfere with parental rights. Public schools should focus on science, reading, and math and leave moral education to parents. The Bible gives parents, not state schools, the responsibility for raising kids. I'm Pastor John Miller. Visit me at churchontherock.org.
So, by the time we get to 1929, there's been a radical shift in our culture. We're coming into industrialization. We're coming into urbanization. We've had a huge amount of immigrants.
I've got to know though, since you're civics, what happened in 1920? Why is there a blank?
Okay, so they always, they have struggled with redistricting. Every 10 years, it is the nastiest.
Just like it was this time.
Okay. Have you seen the cartoon of the gerrymander?
I don't know if I have or not. Maybe.
Okay, so there's a cartoon of how the word gerrymander first originally got coined.
That was the guy's name, right?
So it was the
Gary was his name.
Jerry. That was his last name. He was the governor of New York, and he didn't even draw the map. He just approved the map. And there was a district that looked like a salamander. And so they just added wings and they called it the gerrymander.
Okay.
That cartoon.
Feels right.
That cartoon is from guess what year?
1920?
1812.
Oh, wow.
So
it's been happening that long.
From the beginning, we have this problem.
Okay.
Where we really don't like how, all of the
Nothing is new. Politicians have been crooked since they've been
from the beginning.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So we have this redistricting problem every 10 years. Okay. And they have to argue about how many people are going to be in the district. How many people? What's the formula? What's the formula? What's the formula? And at 1929, 1920, we're already dealing with prohibition. Yeah. There's wet politicians and dry politicians. And there's this argument about who's going to get more power. And what if
how the Kennedys get rich.
All of that. So what happens is they say, here's our solution. Let's just freeze it at 435 forever. Like in the Sandlot. Forever. Yeah.
I tried to get my daughter to watch that the other day, and she had no interest.
Yeah, I don't. It's
not a girl movie.
Maybe not. So, okay. So there we've been at 400. This is before Alaska and Hawaii joined the Union.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when Alaska and Hawaii joined the Union, we go up temporarily to 437.
Okay.
And after the next census, we go back down to 435 seats. And that's where we've been for over 100 years. So what does that mean? Because our population, what's happened to our population since 1929?
Right. It's grown.
Tripled. So at the time, the districts were at 211,000 on average. What that means, on average, what that means is that some districts are going to have 180,000 and some are going to have almost 300,000.
Right.
Right? Okay. So right now, our average is 761,169. But what that means is Delaware has over 1 million people and they have 1 seat.
Mm.
And Montana or Wyoming, Montana has 500,000. Wyoming has 500,000 and they have 1 seat. So basically your vote is worth twice as much
Twice as heavy in Montana.
in Wyoming than it is in Delaware.
Well, so once again, taxation without representation.
Yeah, so I did the math once on, let's say, okay, so most people just really don't care that much about politics, and that's fine. Actually, one of my favorite quotes by Ben Sass is 1 cheer for government. Like not 3 cheers, not even 2 cheers.
Yeah, just
1 cheer.
One good one.
Yeah, because frankly, there's so much other stuff that's more important.
Right.
Right? Like coaching Little League, more important. Being a good parent, more important. In fact, actually, I was thinking about this. What is the most powerful kind of government?
The one that's unknown, I guess. I don't know.
Self-governance.
Yeah, okay, I like that.
So like when I get up in the morning, I have the most control over my life than anybody else. It doesn't matter what Trump is doing in the White House. It didn't matter when Joe Biden was in the in the White House. None of that affects my day to day as much as my choices.
Yeah, there
right.
You go.
It doesn't matter who's in Austin. It doesn't matter. What matters is what I decide.
Yeah.
Right. I'm deciding what's for breakfast at my house. I'm deciding who's watching what at my house.
Right.
And it's not just because I'm a mom. It's because I'm a person.
Yeah.
Right. So what we are obsessed with when we watch like glow up videos, what we're seeing is somebody taking their lives and transforming them through self-governance.
Okay.
So the most powerful kind of government is self-government. All right. So all that to say, we're all doing our best out here. Most people don't care about government.
No.
They don't have to. No. Right. Actually, part of the beauty of a republic is I delegated part of my authority to a guy who was going to go vote for me. He was going to go take care of the stuff that I don't have time for.
If he messes up bad enough that I hear, then we'll correct it.
That's right. So maybe 20% of the population actually cares about government. And that's fine. That's great, honestly. Okay.
Well, less than 30% started the revolution.
Right. So let's say that you woke up tomorrow and you were in one of those House seats you were representing, and you decided that you wanted to listen to your constituents. You were going to give them 5 minutes. Okay. And I'll be your staffer, right? And I'm going to line them up in the hall and I'm going to be like, you get in here, get in here, get in here. I'm going to have them on a clock. I'm going to be like, you get 5 minutes, go. You get 5 minutes, go. Right. So you're seeing 12 people an hour. You're like, we're getting them in as fast as we can. Do you know how many days it would take you night and day to listen to just 20% of your constituents?
No.
2,000 days.
2,000 days.
Plus. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's literally physically impossible.
So you can't even do it in your 2-year term.
No.
Much less all the work you're supposed to be doing.
No. Okay, so they're having to perform some kind of triage, right? Like if they tried.
And that's 20%, you said.
Right.
Which is what, 14,000?
No, if we've got 770,000.
Oh, so 740,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, imagine even if you wanted to do a good job, you can't. You have 2 ears and 1 brain, and you have 24 hours in a day.
Gotcha.
Right? Maybe maybe you're working 10, 12-hour days. You cannot hear your people. You can't. So what do? How do you decide who to listen to?
Well, obviously it's going to be, in today's world, it's whoever's giving you the most money.
Who can write a check?
Yeah.
So what has happened, unfortunately, is that where we are now is that lobbyists have their ears. They have their time. They have the representatives. And it's not even the representatives' fault, really. This is like, we came to this place over a historical, now, like over 100 years. That's or 200 years, because we weren't adding enough seats before then. Right. Okay. So here we are at this hot mess where they physically cannot hear us and they have to listen to their donors.
Right.
And really, I mean, it costs $1 million to run in a cheap area.
Here in this area, the state rep last race, they spent $1.5 million.
That's right.
For the state rep, not even the guys in this thing. I mean,
we're not even talking about the U.S. House. We're just talking about Texas state. Yeah, that is a real thing, because if you're trying to reach 750,000 voters, and even if you just want to send a postcard, I mean, it's okay. So they literally physically cannot hear us. So they have to listen to their donors. They have to raise money. They have to spend all their time focused on raising money.
Yeah.
And so what do we do about it?
I don't know.
Congress could act tomorrow. Like, they could repeal the Congressional Apportionment Act of 1929.
So it's an act. It's not even an amendment.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I guess I should have known that, but I didn't.
No, so and as far as I'm concerned, it's an unconstitutional act, that they shouldn't have been able to do that, because
Should have been.
they should have. So according to Article 1, it's supposed to be proportional, right? So it's supposed to keep growing alongside the population. That seems pretty simple to me, but whatever, constitutional scholars can argue about that.
Right.
But they could repeal it tomorrow. If they wanted to, this would be over. Like, they could argue again about what size is the formula, how many people should be in the district. And reasonable people can disagree about this, right? Like, you might think that 100,000 people would be a good cap.
Right.
And somebody else might think, a 300,000 would be a good cap.
Right.
We would have twice as many seats in the House if the cap were 300,000. Okay, so reasonable people can disagree, and Congress could act tomorrow. In fact, there's a really cool group called Uncap the House, and they have a website, Project No Cap. And for any listener who wants to, you can go and put in your address, and you can send it. They'll start you off with an email that you can edit and change, and it will automatically go to your U.S. House representative, and you can use it every day, 15 times a day for free. And I mean, I think that's a great, we should be doing that. I've done it a bunch of times to my representative, and I'm going to keep doing it. Right. Because it's free. And that she needs to know that I would like to see, actually, he needs to know. Sorry, I was thinking about my state rep.
The next time I'm on this show, I'm going to ask him about it.
Yeah. But what do you think the reality is about whether or not they would actually do that?
My thought is, with every new representative added, they lose power, and nobody's going to vote to lose power.
You don't think that they're into sharing their power?
No, because there's, in theory, in government, there's, 530 congressmen,
435 representatives, 100. So that's
535.
Yeah.
So 535, one president.
Right.
Then the judiciary, which is, boils down to 9 Supreme Court justices.
Yeah.
I mean, constitutionally.
Yeah. So I don't think that their track record says that they're going to share that power.
Right? Like, give themselves raises.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Okay.
So are you familiar with the story of the last time our Constitution was amended?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Would have been the 26th Amendment.
27th.
27th Amendment.
Yes. Okay. So the craziest thing happened. 1981, there's a college kid named Gregory Watson at UT Austin. And he has to write a paper for a government class. And he decides...
University of Texas for all of those of y'all not in Texas.
Sorry. Yes. University of Texas at Austin.
We're in the majority of states now. So.
Yeah. So he goes down to the library. It's 1981, right? So he's like in a library with books. There's no Google.
He's playing the Dewey Decimal System for sure.
Yes. He's like seeking the help of a grumpy librarian.
Yeah.
Okay. And he finds a book on the shelf of unratified amendments. Okay. So thousands have been proposed, right?
Right.
Because we don't change the Constitution willy-nilly. It's a high bar. Three-quarters 3/4 of the U.S. House, 3/4 of the Senate, or 3/4 of the states.
Right.
So he finds a book of unratified amendments, and he takes it off the shelf and he opens it up and he finds one that's one sentence that he understands. And he's like, oh, this was proposed in 1789 and we still need it.
What was it?
Okay. It was about their pay. So even a 19-year-old kid can understand the power of the purse, right? The whole way that the budget is supposed to work is that Congress is supposed to propose a budget, and they're supposed to, it depends on how far back you go, but okay. So Congress is supposed to be able to decide what we spend money on. So the Congress is who sets the president's salary.
Yeah.
Congress sets all the Supreme Court justices' salaries.
Yep.
Congress sets all the federal judges' salaries. And Congress sets Congress's salary.
Which is interesting.
So there is definitely going to be some temptation to, fatten their purses, right? And the founders knew this. They understood human nature, and they proposed this little speed bump, this little limiter, governor, if you will, that doesn't take that power away from them, but it just gets a little bit in their way so that they can't just go crazy. And it goes like this. No law varying the compensation of the Congress shall, I think it's take effect, unless an election has intervened. So yeah, y'all vote yourselves whatever raise you want, but your people got to vote to send you back so you can collect it.
Right.
So in other words, they can raise the pay of the next Congress. Okay. So this was proposed in 1789. With the original batch of 12 amendments. There were 12, not 10. Okay. So
what was the other one?
Oh, we're going to get there.
Okay. Let me pause you here.
Yeah.
I have often said if we were ever going to get term limit amendment through Congress, they would have to be grandfathered in, which is basically what that's saying too. Is like, it's the opposite of it. Saying, yeah, it's for the next guy, where I'm saying, yeah, it'd be for everybody else coming.
Yeah. That's actually a really good idea. If you're into term limits, that's one way to go about it.
Right.
All right. So let's see. We were talking about, right. So in 1789, there was this batch of 12 amendments. And actually, if you think about this, I'm going to quote Ben Sass again.
Yeah.
There were actually like 19, but they realized that some of them only make sense if they're all bundled together. Mm-hmm. For example, in the First Amendment, we've got freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, freedom of the press, and freedom of petition. So imagine if we didn't have just one of those. Let's say that you can say whatever you want, but you're not allowed to write it. Is that weird and stupid?
It's a problem.
Right. Or let's say the other way around. You can have, China has freedom of religion. You're allowed to believe whatever you want, but they don't have freedom of assembly.
Yeah, you just can't get together and talk about it.
Right. So all of those had to be bundled. So they put those all together, and that shrunk the list down. And the first two are the ones that we don't know because they were not ratified. Okay, so that when we got renumbered. So the original Second Amendment is the one that our boy Greg Watson, the college kid, runs across with congressional pay. Okay?
Really?
Yes. And so he writes his paper on it, and he's typing on a little electric typewriter, and he's like, it's like white out, and like he has to change the ribbon if he's going to change the font. Like it's a
big deal.
It's like old school here.
Yeah.
And so he turns in his paper, and he knew what we just talked about, that Congress is not going to vote to limit its power in any way. So he said, since this was in the original batch that went out to the states, we could just go state by state.
Oh, it's still there.
Hang on. So yeah. So
it's still there.
So his method was, this is what he wrote in his paper, that what we could do is we could reach out to the state legislatures and we could say, hey,
ratify that
thing. And so every state legislature would have the choice. They could debate it on the floor, and they could say, as far as the people of Florida are concerned, this would be better for us. Congress needs to have this little speed bump.
We could still do it today.
Guess what?
Yeah.
So he turns it in, and he gets his paper back, and it's got a C on it. And he is so mad. He's so mad. And so he goes to the professor. Okay, so it wasn't even the professor who graded it. It was like some poor grad student, right? Mm-hmm. And so he appeals to the professor, and he's like, hey, I worked hard on this. I feel like I completed the brief. Like, why? Could you take a look? Would you at least take a look and review the grade? So she's like, yeah, sure. I'll take a look. So the next time the class meets, she throws the paper back in his face and she says, the grade stands. No change. It's completely unrealistic. He quit school and he dedicated himself to getting that thing passed. So he reached out to the Maine state legislature, state of Maine. And he was like, hey, is there anybody up there crazy enough who, you know, loves the Constitution and is willing to bring this to the floor and to defend it? And they were like, yeah, oh yeah, we know a guy. He's crazy and he loves the Constitution. And so sure enough, somebody brings it to the floor in the State House of Maine and they vote and they ratify it.
Do you know Dr. Brooks McKenzie?
We have met the Baba Yaga.
I feel like he needs to hear about this.
He actually was in the room when I presented it to our county group, and he is super fun. Yes, he's been supportive, but he's very busy. So he's got his own irons.
Making everybody famous.
Right. He's got his own irons in the fire.
Okay.
So, you know.
Okay. Continue on. I'm enjoying this.
All right. So here we go with our boy Gregory Watson.
Yeah.
And
we're in Maine. He found somebody.
Right. And they voted and they ratified it. And now he's drunk with power. Right.
Oh,
he's
of
like,
course he is.
he's like, oh my gosh.
You can't stop me.
That's right. So he's like, okay, I'm going to make myself this promise. As long as one state per year ratifies, I got to keep going. So he's basically saying.
That's a decent goal, really.
He's basically saying, if this thing takes me 50 years, so be it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So some years he had a good year and like 5 states ratify. So like 81, 82, 83, 84. He's okay, paper, ink, stamps, envelopes. Like he's mailing this off, copying it and sending it to state legislatures all over the country. So some years he has a good year and 5 states ratify. Some years he has a bad year and only 1 state ratifies. And you can see the history.
So we're trying to get to 36 here.
38.
38. Okay, that's the number.
Is 3/4 of
Okay,
50.
I knew it was
Well,
somewhere
it's actually like 37 and a half, but you got to have 38.
Okay.
So he keeps going and he keeps going. And by the time we get to 1991, he's like, okay, now we're at like 30, 35 states.
Really?
And he's like, now it's not just a protest. Now it's not just like the states are sending a message to Washington that for the people of Oklahoma, it would be better if they couldn't keep raising their pay without any kind of limiter. And in fact, it's interesting, at the time that he was discovering this issue, Congress had voted themselves so many raises during the 70s that they were making 5 times the median household income.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So believe it or not, their ratings were even lower then than they are now. It was a hard time.
They're like 15% now or something.
Yeah, okay, it was like 12.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, so it was crazy. It was really bad. Okay. So he keeps going and he keeps going and he keeps going. And now, okay, so then it's like 37, 38 states. They're like, oh my gosh, we could actually get this thing done. And I think it was Missouri that was the last state. And then they found out. So this all happened. It started before the records were digitized. And there were actually states that had ratified it back in 1789. So more states actually ratified than were necessary. So it became a part of the Constitution in 1992. And of course, immediately there were lawsuits filed and it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And they said the people's duly elected representatives voted on this and ratified it. It stands. And they have not had a pay raise since 1992, except for cost of living adjustments. And now they only make twice the median household income.
So is this is the 27th Amendment?
That is the 27th Amendment. You can read about it on Wikipedia.
That's amazing. I had no idea about that.
Yeah. So I want to copy his method and I want to break his record.
So what was the other one?
I'm so glad you asked.
Yeah. Because now I'm in. You're a salesman. Because now I'm in it. I'm with you.
Well, I'm so glad. I hope your audience is with us too.
Yeah, they're with us.
All right. So Gregory Watson had a pretty easy sell job because everybody thinks Congress makes too much money.
Yeah.
Right. And it was an easy 1-sentence thing. And so it was easy to explain. All right. But the original First Amendment is hard to explain. And it's a paragraph of that real dense legal language from the 1700s. And it has 2 triggering events in it. And it's like hard. But I will read it right now.
Yeah, let's do it. Oh, go ahead.
It's right here.
So the 27th Amendment was the original Second Amendment.
Correct. And it took 230 years to get ratified.
But it did.
But it happened.
So that's been ratified in my lifetime.
Yes, sir.
Which is cool.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Some of us were alive. And it was already like, I was never taught this.
I'm going to have to ask Coach about this. He's our show historian, Denny Burdine.
Okay.
I'm going to we're going to bring him in. Yeah, man, I should have brought him in here with you. Anyway, all right.
Well, I'm sure he'll have stuff to say about it. All right. So I'm going to read this language, and you just have to bear with me because James Madison wrote this.
Yeah, no, I got you.
That's another thing that I like to say to people is like, if you hate this idea, we can still be friends, right? Because it's not my idea. I didn't come up with this. I'm just the messenger, right?
What's the quote about Ben Franklin? There hasn't been this much brain power in this room since Dr. Franklin was here, or something like that. Like that's
No.
that. So it's whatever wherever the room was. Somebody's like, "Oh my gosh, there's a lot of smart people in there," and they're like, "Yeah, there hadn't been this much brain power since Dr. Franklin was there." Like these guys were hyper intelligent.
They were amazing. All right. After the first enumeration, that's the census enumeration, required by the first article of the Constitution, there shall be one representative for every 30,000 until the number shall amount to 100. So until there were 100 seats in Congress.
Yeah.
After which, the proportion shall be so regulated by Congress that there shall be not less than 100. So we're never going to go under 100 representatives, nor less than one representative for every 40,000 persons.
Okay.
So we're going to go up to 40,000 people per district after we get to 100 seats, which we did.
Yeah.
Okay. Until the number of representatives shall amount to 200.
Which were passed.
After which the proportion shall be so regulated by Congress that there shall be not less than 200 representatives, nor less than one representative for every 50,000 persons.
Okay.
So they would cap it at 50,000 people.
Okay.
And that's where I lose people. They're like, I don't know about that. Get out your calculator.
Yep.
We already established that there's 1/3 of a billion of us. Put in 331 million just because that's what we found out at the last census. That's what they count.
Okay.
Now divide that by 50,000 people.
So 6,620.
That's right.
That's how many representatives we should have?
If every seat is for 50,000 people, then that's how many seats we should have. Okay, and this is the mic drop moment, right? It's like...
So what do we have, 435?
Yes, sir.
So we're short 6,185 representatives?
Yes, sir.
Well, of course we are. Of course we are.
All right, so the first question people usually ask is, where would they meet? Like, would we have to build a new Capitol building? Nope. We surely do not have to build any new buildings. We have the
technology not to have to do that.
Oh, if COVID taught us anything, it's that 5th graders can Zoom. And if 5th graders can Zoom, so can Congress people.
But then you don't have the cesspool that is Washington with their hookers and their drugs and all the things that influence all the peddling and all the...
So imagine if you are a lobbyist. Okay, so let's talk about lobbying just for a little bit.
Please.
Let's assume that the way that this began, I think that that lobbying comes from this problem, from a lack of representation. So like when there were 200,000 people in your district, you knew you weren't going to get time unless you went and sat in the lobby. And you waited until he was coming out of his office.
Right.
And you walked with him to his next meeting. And you made your pitch. You got your 30 seconds of airtime, right? Well, then there was like a bunch of people hanging out in the lobby.
Yeah.
Right? And then it was like, okay, well, I'll pay you to hang out in the lobby because I got to go run my business.
Yeah, I just need someone to be in the lobby.
Right. So that's how lobbying comes to be a thing, is because they can't hear us. So if we had adopted this thing back in 1789, then we would have kept adding seats, right? So like by 1850...
Let me ask you, with the 27th Amendment in mind, has anybody ratified this?
Actually, this went out to the states in 1789, but it came with a mistake. There's a line, in the last line, they accidentally... Okay, so remember, dealing with parchment and ink wells and quill pens. And when they voted on this in Congress and they sent it out to the states for ratification, they sent it to a scrivener first. So the scrivener made copyist.
Okay.
That was what they were called.
Okay.
So the scrivener made a mistake. And the copies that went out to the states substituted the word more for the word less in the last line, which makes the math not work.
Gotcha.
So actually, 11 states did ratify it, but with the wrong language. And I think it was Connecticut was like, this is wrong, and sent it back.
Yeah.
And they were like, we can't ratify it like this.
Yeah.
And actually, that's a good thing, because then we would have been stuck with 200 members.
Right.
Instead of
Even worse.
more, yeah, right.
Twice as bad.
Yes, it would be twice as bad. So I would say that that's God's providence, right?
Yeah,
That he knew what
so.
he knew what he was doing, but this is the work of our time. And so it's my job to harass the Texas state legislature and to get it on the floor. Okay, so remember our guy?
'Cause I'm in.
Okay, Greg Watson. Remember
Yeah.
our guy? He still works in Austin.
Does he?
He's still alive. He's in.
How do you feel about this?
Well, I'm not sure. We've emailed back and forth a little bit, and he waited for me to ask the right question, which was, is there anybody crazy enough who loves the Constitution who would bring this to the floor of the Texas State House? And he was like, well, actually, somebody already did. And it wasn't in the 89th legislature. It wasn't in the 89th session. It was in the 88th. And it was Representative Terry Wilson of Georgetown. And I have reached out, phone calls, emails, and no answer. Now, I'm not his constituent.
Sounds
Right?
like you need a lobbyist.
Apparently I do. And I'm not his constituent. He doesn't owe me anything, right? But I'm curious, like, why he presented it, what was his interest in it, and then why he didn't re-present it, right? It was referred to the State Affairs Committee, and it died in committee.
Have you, it's going to be a wild way around it. You're a realtor in Texas?
Yes, I am.
Have you called your TAR representative?
I have not.
Because the TAR has a representative liaison for most every.
Yeah.
So you have a lobbyist that you're currently paying.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be.
But I don't know if every realtor, agrees with me here.
No. But they can get you the meeting.
Well, so I have actually met with my representative.
Oh, okay.
So my representative is Joanne Schaffner, and she seems to be doing a great job. And actually, it was really funny. So the way things work here in Texas, she got recruited to run against an incumbent, who, and she beat him. And so she won the primary in February of, would that be 24? No, 25. She won the primary in 25. You know what? I'm not sure. Anyway, she wins the primary in February.
It would have been 24.
But then she doesn't take office
Till 25.
till she actually comes through the general election. And she can't hire any staff during those months.
Right.
So she's still answering the phone herself at that point. And so I call and I leave a message and I'm like, hey, I'd love to talk to you about this. And she calls me back. We set up a phone date. She listened to me for like 30 minutes. She asked a bunch of really smart questions. And she said, I need it on a single page.
And
so
here we go.
That's how this was born. I wanted the original language to appear, and I wanted it not to be teeny tiny font. But obviously, I couldn't tell the story about Greg Watson on a single page, and about his method and all of that. So, I was like, okay, well, I'll sit down and I'll try. So I prayed about it, and this is what I came up with. So she has heard me out, and she doesn't think it's best. She doesn't think that the
Hey, good on her for hearing you.
right that the U.S. House would be better served with that many seats. And I think, reasonable people can disagree about that, right? You could say that I would really like to see a limit at 100,000, right? But what I have to see is an influx of new blood. We need that. And we need to see the growth mechanism reinstalled. Because right now, the way it sits, there will never be any new seats in the U.S. House.
Right. It's
forever
you've got
and
what
ever.
you've got.
Yes. Amen.
And so you can keep your.
So what that means is that even though Texas got 2 new seats, we went from 36 to 38 after the 2020 census.
Yeah, somebody else just loses.
Well, yes. California lost 1.
Right.
And not only that, but Texas still loses because our seats are still representing more people than they were in 2010.
Oh, right.
So, even though we're the winners because we get another 2 seats, voices are still being lost. Voices are still being suppressed because back then we were being represented at 740,000 people per district. But now it takes 761,000 of us. to equal one of them. So we're still, it not only does it pit the states against each other, so like populations of other states are growing, they're just not growing as fast as Texas is.
Right.
So it pits the states against each other for us not to have a growth mechanism. And it also, everybody loses because even when you get new seats, those new seats are still representing more people than they were previously.
Man, this is wild.
I know. It's like a lot. And so I had this conversation with two sweet little baby staffers this week or last week. So what I do is I call in an office and I'm like, hey, so I ran into your legislator at the Republican Party of Texas convention and he said he was interested. So would you listen to my pitch? And so I talk their ear off for 30 minutes or, I schedule a call and these poor little baby staffers, right? They're like, what? I mean, they weren't even born in 1992, right? Like they're doing the best they can. They're overwhelmed.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Right. And, they're worried about other things. And this is one of those classic cases of the tyranny of the urgent has displaced what's important.
It wouldn't if you had more representatives because then they would all have less to do.
Right. So if we imagine a world in which they had to shop at your Kroger, they had to get their tires done at your discount tire.
I think they should have to do that. Even if we left it at 4:35, we could bring them all home.
Right. So let's bring them all home and they can schedule. Okay. So if we just kept those 435 offices up there, they would have to schedule taking turns to be in those offices.
Yeah. You can do that.
So they would get like 3 weeks out of the year in DC.
Right.
That's fine with me. They can have 3 weeks up there.
With everything, you heard, I handle business through my phone. I do my payments through my phone. I do everything. And now I understand there's some classified stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
There are ways. The president travels around the world and has secured video conference wherever he goes. We can figure it out. And like I said, even if it's only for 435, you can figure it out for those 400 or then senators. But I'm not against growing it. There's, it's a common story I tell. Maybe you can work this into your presentation. You don't have to, but feel free to, because that's not original to me. Did you ever hear about the lady making a roast?
No, something like that.
Lady's making a roast, right? And her husband's watching, and she gets it out, and she cuts the end off, throws the end away, puts it in the pan, does her thing, makes the roast. Husband's like, hey.
Why are you doing that?
Cut the end off. I don't know.
Mom did that.
Have you heard this?
No, but I know where you're going.
Yeah, Mom did it, and call Mom. Mom was, so Grandma did it. Call Grandma. I'm like, Grandma, why we do that? She said, my pan wasn't big enough.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yes.
We're wasting a lot of meat here
Yeah.
because Grandma's pan wasn't big enough.
Yes.
That's where we are. That's
exactly
the same thing.
Yes, that is 100% where we are. We are in a trap. I want to, the way I imagine it is also if each of them is trying to do 15 people's job, how many people are on a football team?
It depends on where you're at.
Okay, but
50, about 60.
The smallest football teams are 6-man football teams, right?
Oh, okay. If you're talking about on the field, it's 11.
Okay,
6-man, yeah.
All right, so 11 guys are on the field. Imagine if the coach is yelling at them when there's only one guy on the field. Why aren't you doing all the jobs of all the 11 guys?
Yeah.
Well, because I can't do all the jobs of all the 11 guys. That's not
no wonder you don't have time to appropriate the bills and to do all the committee, because you don't have enough people doing it.
That's right. So on average, each of them has a staff of 18 to 22 people. So just say 20 people.
Okay.
So those 20 people are the ones that are really doing the job. The elected representative is really just the face of a team of people that's doing the job. So those 20 people are the ones trying to read the bills. They're the ones trying to return calls.
Let's play this game. I've done it.
To constituents.
So, if each of your 435 has a staff of 20, that's 8,700 people.
That's who's actually running the country. And we don't know their names.
So here's the deal. If the number was 6,600, we know that there's space up there for them because there's 8,700 up there currently. So
right.
you don't need to expand the space at all
Nope.
because they are all already officed there.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So we've taken away our voted representatives and made them hired.
That's exactly
staff.
right.
Is that where you were going?
So yeah, why don't those people run for office? Right? Why don't we make the districts tiny? 50,000.
Because we don't need any more space because they're all already up there.
Right. And they don't all have to be there. They could be in their districts.
Right. True.
Right.
But even if not, even if we send them all, we've got room.
There's plenty of room. Yeah. There's no problem there's no physical problem. Really what we have is a cultural problem. The problem is people don't know. It's almost like someone has, okay, I love heist movies, like Ocean's 11.
Yes.
All those movies. Okay.
Hold on, let me do something.
Yeah.
It's about money and it's a power. I want my money back. I want my money back. That's all it is. It's all money and power.
100%. So let's say that you're watching an Ocean's movie and there's usually a spot in the movie where they have to make a replica of the Fabergé egg and it has to weigh the same amount and they have to they're going to swap it out because the best heist is the one where nobody knows that something's been stolen.
And that's where we are.
That's exactly right. So
our representation has been stolen.
Yeah, it's gone.
And we have room for it because we're just paying those people probably a lot more than what.
Yeah. So instead of, 8,700 people, we could have. So part of it is that there's accompanying legislation that we would need to write also, right? There's the amendment, right? And then there's how much should they make a year? Well, right now they're making $174,000 a year.
Right.
Which is,
how much are we paying these staffs?
That's exactly right. That part is not even known.
Right.
And
so I bet it balances.
Yeah. I did some of the math and it might cost us up front a little bit, but the highest number that I could come up with was less than $2 billion.
Let's don't get fiscally hawkish all of a sudden because we're not now.
Well, and okay, so let's say that it did cost us just under $2 billion. I tried to make a pie chart of the federal budget with $2 billion.
You didn't even see it.
You couldn't see it. I had to come up with you couldn't use a
$14 trillion budget or something?
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah, so I feel like people would be, actually, we've heard, billionaires say, I don't mind paying taxes if I know where the money goes. Mm-hmm. And if the money goes to me actually being represented, to, a normal guy actually being able to run for office, then that would be worth it to me.
I like what you're throwing out, but I'm usually against the parties and against, all of it. So
another thing that
$7 trillion. So I was wrong. $7 trillion
deficit.
No, budget.
Oh, okay.
We're $36 trillion in debt.
In debt, yeah. So one of the things I have here is this table. I looked up the current population according to the 2020 census of each state. And then I looked up the number of seats that we currently have. So we'll flip to the Texas one. Mm-hmm. So here we are. Here's Texas. We have currently roughly 29 million, according to the census, right? Mm-hmm. So probably it's more like 36 million, but whatever. Okay. So 29 million Texans are represented by 38 seats in the U.S. House. If they had left us alone, and instead of in 1929 freezing it, if they had said, okay, we're just going to keep this at 211,000 people per district, and we're just going to keep adding at that level, we would currently have 119 seats.
Okay.
And the total would be 1,293.
Okay.
So, there's an argument to be made for just repealing the act.
Right.
Right? Let's just go back to
get us a little closer to right.
Yeah. It would immediately triple the size, quadruple the size. No, it tripled the size of the House, the number of representatives, and it would make gerrymandering much less profitable, and it would make lobbying much less profitable, and it would restore the growth mechanism. I'm down. But what I know is that they don't tend to do that unless they feel threatened. Mm-hmm. Right? And so if Texas were to ratify this, if Florida were to ratify this, if Oklahoma, if all of a sudden 7, 8, 12 states ratify this, then all of a sudden they're like, oh, Jesus, we better get something done now.
Yeah.
So I would consider that a win. So to me, we win when there's a massive influx of new blood and the growth mechanism is restored. I almost don't even care if it's like 100,000 or less. In fact, I did the math once of like, what if they meant for it to go up 10,000 for every 100 seats in the House?
Right.
And so I have a table for that if you really want to geek out. Okay. And we would be at like 1744 seats in the House. And each House seat would be at like 210,000.
Right.
I'm down. That's fine with me. So another reference is there's a long article on Substack by James J. Haney. I don't know him. I've commented on his article. It's called Expand the House, You Cowards. And it has a picture of the Galactic Senate.
Yeah, right.
And it's the best. So if you want to read, like if you want to get into all the details, and he actually wants every seat to be 30,000 people. And that would mean that there would be 10,960 seats. So
Still, out of 300 million, not a big number.
That's right. I agree. Again, we're a third of a billion. Oh, let's talk about, I heard you mention on one of your podcasts that you have some UK listeners.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know how many seats they have in their parliament?
No, I have no idea.
Okay. In their lower house, they have 650 seats.
House of Commons.
House of Commons, which means, and their population is like, I want to say 68, 70 million, which means that each one of their seats is representing about 110,000 people.
Interesting.
Which means that Ben Franklin would be rolling in his grave to know that the British have better representation than we do.
That's exactly right.
And you can see that on this chart right here. This shows us compared to the world. So this shows us compared to time. Right. This is us compared to ourselves over time. This is us compared to the world. This was made by the Pew Research Company. And I actually reached out to the guy who made the graph. And I was like, hey, would you like to update it since now we're in 2020? This was after the 2010 census. So he's showing 747,000 Americans per. And he was like, no, it's even worse now. He was like, I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So you can see that here's the US and here's the UK. And they've got way better representation than we do.
That's crazy. And that's how this whole thing's. You know what? Thanks for being here.
All right.
All right. How do people tell them where to go?
All right.
What do you need?
So use that Uncap the House tool. Absolutely. And also, if your state rep will listen to you, call them up, send them an email and say, hey, your first job is to like master all of this info, right? So listen again, read Wikipedia articles, read James J. Haney, read 30,000.org, get your like, make sure you spend the time to really be sure that you're convinced. Maybe you come down on the side that you think it should be one for every 30,000. Maybe you come down on the side that you think it should be one for every 100,000. Just like sit with the data. I've been doing this for 5 years, right? And so I'm convinced that the best solution is the original First Amendment. But that doesn't have to be your solution, right? So what we need is an intelligent conversation with the whole United States, right?
Yeah.
So that's all right. You know,
I mean, I'm for it. Just intelligent conversation in general.
Listen, the founding fathers believed in the ordinary men and women, and they wrote all those Federalist Papers. Oh, you can read Federalist 55 because that's when they say that it's going to be hundreds and hundreds of reps within the first 50 years. Yeah, so read Federalist 55. There's like a whole debate because they were afraid of it getting to be in the thousands also. And so you may, be on the side that you want it to be a few less, whatever you decide. So first do that. Fact check everything.
I'm texting Coach.
Nice. Do your own research. And then, chew on the questions, right? Like, how would anything get done? Well, I actually think less would get done, but it would be better stuff that got done.
I like it.
For me, it's a feature, not a bug, that things would be hard to get through.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah, I want it to be hard and I want it to be... Yeah, anyway, okay. So you have to think about all that. So first, do your thinking. Figure out your position. And then, abuse that Uncap the House tool. Like you can do it every single day if you want. And it takes literally less than 5 minutes. And then if you want this piece of paper, you can print it at your house as many times as you want, and you can put it in an envelope and you can send it to your Texas representative and you can say, please consider this. Just write on it in highlighter. Please consider this.
Right.
And if they get, according to Project No Cap, what they have found is 67, I think is the magic number, 67 interactions with a representative gets you action. So if you do this 67 times, maybe your Texas House representative will bring it to the floor. Representative Wilson, if you're listening, please bring it to the floor.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would love to see it presented with the error corrected on the floor. Or we could have, somebody could present it just as an easy, there shall be one representative for every 50,000 persons.
I like it. Okay. Well, there we go. Well,
Thanks
thank you,
so much
Lois,
for
for your
your
time.
You've been great.
Man, I hope God blesses your endeavors. I certainly.
Oh, that's the best.
I enjoy learning, but this was good. This was good.
Well,
this was
you
good
can
stuff.
say that it started here. It all started here. You'll be the one.
Zach
You'll be
Rateliff Show.
Yeah.
No, you're the one. All right, everybody. We're going to get out of here. I hope God blesses each and every one of you today.